And welcome to Hero Power. As always, I'm your host, Avantes, and I'm joined by my co-host, Zeroshio.
You know, I love seeing our intro and seeing some of the past guests that are on there. It's pretty neat.
You mean sort of like our current guest and Hearthstone Grandmaster Bloodyface.
Hey guys. Thanks for having me on the show.
Welcome back. It's great. It's always great to have you on the show.
Yeah, I enjoy being here.
So, we were talking a little bit before the show. You've been really busy lately. Your schedule's been kind of crazy. We actually been trying to line this up for the last few weeks.
Yeah.
So I was glad to finally be able to get you here.
Yeah.
You think you want to add there?
Yeah, I mean, it's just been really hectic with Grandmasters. Even though Grandmasters only happens twice a week, you spend the other 5 days prepping for it because you don't want to, play bad or have a deck that's not good enough. So yeah, I mean, even though I'm only playing twice a week, it feels like I'm doing Hearthstone-related stuff every day, trying to find the best deck.
Yeah, so, on that, you've done a lot since you were on our show last. Why don't we start with your recent appearance at the World Championships? Can you give us an idea of what it felt like to be there and represent NA?
Oh, yeah, I mean, it was in Taipei, and the location was really awesome. Really enjoyed, the food there, and just, meeting all the other players, and just being able to play at, the highest level of competition. It's probably, I've played other games before, but I've never made it to quite that stage, so, just having a chance of being world champion was awesome. There's actually at one point when I made top 8 that I was the last remaining NA player alive in the tournament. So, it would have been sweet if I could have won at least one more round, but unfortunately, Hunter Ace got the best of me. It was a tough series, a lot of ups and downs. I think I kind of came down to one key decision that I just kind of played instinctually, and I think if I thought it through more, I might have come to a better conclusion, but I mean, it's all good. I'm not going to complain too much making top 8. But yeah, just trying to focus on doing better, and hopefully I get that opportunity again, and I can do even better next time.
But how many people can say they lost to the world champion of 2019 or 2018, whatever they want to call it now, in the top 8? That's an amazing accomplishment. We were super proud of you. We were talking about it like crazy in the Hero Power Patron Discord that you two could be part of over at patreon.com/Hero Power. But going on from, obviously your time in Taipei, I know you and your girlfriend had a lot of fun. I followed your Twitter over there.
Oh, yeah.
And her Twitter as well. You seem to have a lot of fun. And then transitioning right into the Grandmasters. We'll talk more about the Grandmasters here in just a minute, but what is that change in lifestyle and experience been, not just for you, but you and that partner in life that you have, in your personal life? How's that feel?
It's pretty amazing. I have a pretty. It's kind of an overall low stress lifestyle. I don't really have deadline. I have one major deadline, which is submitting my decks, and I have to play twice a week. But other than that, I get to choose how to spend the rest of my time. So I've been trying to focus on streaming a lot more, because, let's say I do really poorly in the Grandmasters, which is a possibility, and you're playing against the best players. I want to have a fallback plan, and I want to try and grow my fan base and try and start a community so that, if for some reason Hearthstone competing doesn't work out, I'll have streaming available. So I've just been trying to focus on that. It's kind of hard to balance streaming and competing at the same time because they're kind of counter to each other, since your competitors can see what decks you're streaming. And if you're, I've been streaming a ton, probably been streaming 20 hours a week. It's when you spend that much time playing, it's kind of obvious to other competitors what decks you tend to like playing. So, even when I'm not streaming, I still have to practice off stream. So I'm pretty much just playing Hearthstone all the time, which isn't a bad thing. It is easy to get burnt out doing that. So I'm I'm constantly trying to balance Hearthstone with other real life things like hanging out with friends and just trying to relax and, just trying to enjoy the day-to-day life and not get too caught up in deck submissions and stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely beats, doing the 9 to 5 coding job that I had a year and a half ago. So
yeah. So talking about, Grandmasters, it now officially being your quote unquote job, are you happy with the structure of Grandmasters and how it's been run thus far? Are there things you feel like could be better for the player experience, or what are your overall thoughts on Grandmasters as a whole, having been a part of this inaugural season?
Well, I don't really think we can ask for that much better of a viewer experience. I think the production value is pretty good. I think some people might complain about small details like the transitioning and listening to the same interviews, but I mean, I think with what they got, because we basically had 2 days in Taipei to get all the media stuff done, and so they're going to reuse that media stuff a lot, and it's kind of hard to, you have 45 players, you have to, or is it 48? Yeah, you have like 40-something players you have to turn through, and there's only so much they can do. So I think with what they have, I'm satisfied with the overall viewer experience. From the player side, it's kind of annoying. There's like 2 major things that I don't like. One is that we have to submit our decks at 7 a.m. Eastern time, 4 a.m. Pacific time, and doesn't sound bad on the surface because, hey, if you don't want to stay up all night, you can just submit your decks early. But we actually get EU decks at 3:30 a.m. Eastern time, and we get Apex decks at 2 a.m. Eastern time. So you're incentivized to stay up all night, and you're just going to be behind if someone in EU or Asia like comes out with some new tech card or some new meta deck that you weren't expecting. You still have a few hours to try and prep, and it's just not healthy to have one day. I want to have a consistent sleep schedule, but then again, I don't want to stay up till 7 a.m. every single day because I'm streaming during the day. So I would really like it if they would just push the deadline back to midnight. I don't care to see you in Apex decks. I think it's better if we don't, because then you get I think even 1 week, I'm not saying this is bad, but it's a late net deck, the Water Rogue deck. When Water Rogue first came out, Fino and Hunter Ace and Psycho, a lot of them played it, and I guess Lay just thought that deck was better than whatever he had, so we made the swap over. Stuff like that, probably not the best for when you're trying to showcase each individual player's creativity. You don't want net decking stuff like that happening. So that's one major thing. The other major thing is we have to keep a very large block of time tucked away just for Grandmasters. If my match is at 6 o'clock, it might not actually happen at 6. It might happen at 5 if the rest of the matches go fast. It might happen at 7. It might happen at 8. There's a lot of warrior mirrors. So it's just kind of annoying to weekends is when everyone else is available, when all my friends are available, and when it's time for me, where I have time to hang out with people. And it's really hard to say, hey, well, I am busy between the hours of 2 o'clock to 8 o'clock because I don't actually know what my match is going to be. It's scheduled for 5, but who knows when it's going to be. And we have to check in an hour and a half early before our match. So, yeah, it's just, it's kind of, I don't like that aspect of it, but I get that it's a very, very long-running show because they do APAC, then EU, then NA. So it's kind of out of their hands on how to fix that. But maybe it's just a problem with the structure itself. I don't actually know if 14-hour long stream 2 days a week is what's best for Hearthstone esports. Maybe it is, but then again, there's a lot of criticisms about are these match high stakes enough? There's not even relegation season 1, which I'm happy with. I'm not doing too hot in season 1. But yeah, I mean, overall, I think for people who aren't heavily invested in esports, I think it's pretty cool because they get to see the top players playing the best decks, which is, I think, what most people want. For people that are more invested in the esports scene, it might get a little bit, kind of redundant seeing Warrior versus Rogue for the 10th time of the day for week after week. I don't think those people want to watch that matchup over and over. So I think there is some concern for staleness going on. But then again, the balance team is coming out with buffs and nerfs. So, I'm just glad that there's a lot of stuff happening outside of GM to try and keep GM fresh because, ultimately, I don't think it's GM's responsibility to, keep the meta fresh. Like, that's the balance team's responsibility. So, I think for what GM is responsible for, I think they're doing a good job. But, there's always things that we can do better. So
Yeah, absolutely. And I got a question that's not actually listed in the show notes, but Blizzard has always nerfed cards. They've never actually buffed cards. So what were your thoughts about the recent series of buffs?
Well, they actually have buff cards, but that was a long time ago. I think Unleash the Hounds was like 2 mana at one point, and then it got re-nerfed to 3 mana. There's might be some other handful of cards. But yeah, I think in general, buffing could be dangerous because you might just introduce a new broken card. But, I have a hard time understanding what the balance team does on a day-to-day basis. Like, when you clock in at 9 a.m., what are you doing for 8 hours? Are you just, looking at stats? Are you playing Hearthstone? Like, it seems only natural for them to, introduce buffs because they have to be doing something with their time. And I think that's kind of what they ended up doing is they realized that they need something to introduce some freshness into the game. And I like risks. I like broken stuff. I think it's okay if something's broken for a week or 2 weeks. I mean, worst case scenario, they just nerf the card back to what it was. And you just have this broken deck for 2 weeks. But I don't think it's going to make people stop playing the game. It would if they went on for too long. Mm-hmm. But then again, it's their job to make sure that doesn't happen. So I like when they take risks. I don't think there's a lot of risk involved with buffing cards, since they can fix it if things turn out broken. But yeah, I'm a fan of it.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, I've always been a big fan. It's a digital card game, so there's a lot of luxuries that Hearthstone has and other digital card games like Eternal that you can't do with something like Magic the Gathering. Now, Eternal has historically buffed cards during set releases where new sets are coming in. They'll buff some cards or nerf other cards to kind of balance and promote some decks that are, relegated to tier 2 or tier 3 and try to get them up a little bit. But in recent days, it has become an adverse thing where a lot of people aren't liking some of the buffs and it's impacting the meta way too much. Do you think that this first round of obviously they buffed before, but this is the first round they've done a game-wide 2 cards per class. Do you think that they've reached their mark? Is there anything that obviously is way off the mark or anything that we should keep our eyes on?
I think that they're pretty conservative with their buffs this time around. I think the stat buffs, for example, on Thunderhead 3/5 to 3/6, that stuff's pretty marginal and it's not going to change very much. It's not really going to introduce Token Shaman back in. The deck's obviously a little bit better now, but is it 3/6 really going to make the difference? No, not really. The stuff that's going to make a huge difference is the reduced mana cost. So stuff like Christology and Pogo Hopper are the cause for concern cards, but Christology is a draw spell. I mean, sure, you can curve turn 1 Christology into Galvanizer. I think that's pretty sweet. But I don't think making a 2 mana card or 1 mana card that just draws cards is cause for concern. Pogo Hopper, on the other hand, is because the whole idea behind Pogo Hopper is you replay it a million times, and that 2 mana to 1 mana buff means that you don't just get this 1 mana, off the first time you play it, you get it every single other time you play it as well. So that can add up a lot over time, especially when it's turn 7 and you just want to Pogo Hopper Vanish, for example. Or if you just have a Daring Escape and you want to Pogo Hopper Daring Escape, the difference between 2 and 1 mana in that spot is huge. And I think in that sense, that actually does create a new archetype because that buff just comes up so often. And also with the interaction with Witchwood Piper as well, it's kind of, it might be more of an incidental thing, but Witchwood Piper always guaranteed drawing the Pogo Hopper, so you effectively run 4 copies. I don't think Pogo Hopper itself is a deck to be concerned about because there's a lot of issues with it that I don't necessarily have to go into. But I think it's cool that I think it's really cool that a new archetype was introduced but wasn't necessarily broken, and it was brought to GMs, and I think it hasn't been doing too hot, but it's not the best deck, but I think that it's cool.
Okay, cool. All right. So They also last week introduced the Masters bundle, which is available now in the shop for $19.99. It gives you 10 packs of Rise of Shadows, 10 packs of Rosticon's Rumble, plus the Stolen Thunder card back and the Thunder King Shaman hero, which for $20 you get 20 packs and a hero. I think is a fantastic value. You know, anytime you can get cards at $1 a pack, I always kind of recommend looking into that, especially if you need cards. But on top of that, a portion of every purchase of the Masters bundle goes to the Masters Tour tournament prizing, up to $250,000 per tournament. So there's 3 Masters Tours happening this year. So that's $750,000 total. Zeroshio, what are your thoughts about this bundle?
I think this is great. First off, I love any kind of bundle that gives you a hero portrait or a card back, because I'm a collector. I want to have every possible portrait and card back that I can have in the game. In a way, that's the collection aspect of this digital card game, is getting those card backs. And that's something that's not going to really break anything. So somebody like me that wants this kind of stuff, I'm going to purchase this. And knowing that it's going to go towards the Masters Tour, as a spectator and a fan of these players, and we have a lot of people in the community in this Masters Tour program, it's really nice to know that I'm helping. The only thing I don't like about this is it's a one-time purchase bundle. I would like to have the option to purchase, not necessarily this bundle, because I know when they tie bundles with portraits and card backs, it's hard to allow multiple purchases. What do they do for that extra value? But maybe have a smaller bundle, a $5 bundle that has 5 packs in it that you can purchase multiple times, and it's only available for a limited time. That would allow me to, if I happen to have a large sizable amount of money in my entertainment budget, and I'm willing to say, I want to drop $500 on helping out the Masters Tour, I can. Obviously, I can't, because I do a podcast and I don't make that much money. But if I was a whale like that and wanted to support the team, or maybe even just a separate affiliate link, that if I wanted to donate anonymously or donate specifically for the Masters Tour that's not related to buying packs, I could just donate that way. That's the only thing I'm not a fan of. And partially, there's a cap of $750,000. This is done in other games like Rocket League and League of Legends, and there isn't a cap. If the community wants to get the prize pool up to like $4 million additional dollars, I would love to do that. Now, I don't know what kind of restrictions Blizzard has on their tournaments, if it pushes them into another tax bracket or anything like that for pricing and all that kind of stuff. So that might be the red tape there. But just for the bundle itself and the fact that it goes towards the Masters program, I think it's great. I hope they keep doing things like this, and I will continue to support it.
How about you, Bloodyface? What are your thoughts about portions of the purchase going to help out with the Masters Tour prizing?
Yeah, I mean, I think Zeroshio pretty much said everything I agree with. It's kind of hard to add something to that. Yeah, I mean, one interesting thing that happens with like these so I guess just to play devil's advocate a little bit about like the cap and just like not being able to purchase like additional bundles at the same time. I don't know if they have like a concern with trying to like if that would devalue the cost of a pack, because it's kind of they have the ability to print money. Basically, it's like they're the U.S. Treasury. They can print as much dollars as they want, but the more that they print and the more they allow you to repurchase them, it might drive the value of each pack down, and maybe that might reduce their overall sales in the long run, because maybe if people start waiting for these bundles to buy packs instead of buying them just like kind of when there's no deals going on. I don't really know like how they factor all that stuff in. I'm sure it is like a factor. I just don't know how heavily it's weighed. I'm guessing it's weighed like a decent amount since they do not allow you to like. I mean, they have the technology, right? Like you should be able to buy as many bundles as you want. So it is interesting. I do really like the point of if you wanted to donate more money, you should be able to. And the cap, yeah, I don't really understand the cap. Like obviously they want more money. I mean, because the thing is, maybe that's just Blizzard's way of like trying to get some money back from esports. Because I mean, there's just no way they're making money from their esports program, and I don't know how Blizzard views their esports program because they might view it as like a necessary evil. You know, they have to have this program that's just continuously losing money so that they can, keep the game going and they can like keep having good streaming numbers. It's kind of like an ecosystem where they invest a lot of money into the esports program, and then that helps like people like streamers and competitors advertise their game for them, which helps like drive the value of Hearthstone up. And then once the value of Hearthstone goes up, Hearthstone itself can get more sponsors like Visa, for example, to get, to like advertise for them. So it's kind of like the more you do that, like the higher the value goes up. To me, it seems like capping is kind of like a short run sort of thing. Like they're just trying to recover some money for the esports program that they're sinking money into. But then again, it seems like it'd be better in the long run if there wasn't a cap, because I mean, how hype would it be if there's like you said, like what if they just raised like $4 million? Like, and I think that would drive up the viewer. Like there is a correlation between the amount of money on the line and viewership. Like people will watch higher stakes Hearthstone. And it's kind of the problem with the GM League right now is that there isn't really feel like there's a lot at stake with each match. Like there's so many matches. And people will still watch it because it's very high level gameplay, but I think it would help if like there were higher stakes. So limiting the stakes, I don't like it. 750 seems extremely conservative to me. Are they really expecting? I don't really know how much pack sales they get. Like it'd be nice if I had all the information in front of me. Because I don't know how much money they lose every year on esports. I don't know how much money they get on pack sales, et cetera, et cetera. I'm sure that if we had all those details in front of us. But yeah, no, I mean, I'm sure they're doing the best they can. I'm sure this cap isn't necessarily the person's idea who came up with it. It's probably a higher up. They have to set like limits on these sort of things. And Blizzard in general is very conservative when it comes to this kind of stuff. So this to me feels more like a kind of a wait and see approach. Like,
right.
It's like, yeah, we'll try this out, and depending on how it goes, we'll do more, and we might raise the cap. But if we do hit the 750 cap, like let's say we blow it out of the park, maybe they'll do more next time. Maybe they'll just raise the cap next time.
Right.
Do more
like let's just say they didn't hit the cap in the first day. I mean, it's.
Yeah, it'd be nice if we had these numbers, right?
I mean, I can tell you, I bought the bundle twice. Once on my main account, once on my alt account.
Nice.
Yeah, I bought it immediately while I was streaming. I advertised it. Because, I mean, if you care about esports, right, like this is something that you should try and advertise because they don't do a lot of stuff like this. So when they do it, you got to, like, make sure that other people jump on board.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just playing on the ladder, I am seeing a lot of the Thunder King portrait. He has some really good emotes. I do like that they make something very desirable for this bundle because some people are buying it just for the Thunder King portrait, and they really don't even think about the donation to the Masters organization, which they should, but they may not think about it. They're just like, I just want a portrait. So it's good that this bundle attracts those type of purchases on top of those that are willing to help out the Masters pool.
Yeah. So let's actually talk about the Masters Tour for a few minutes, because the first Masters Tour tournament is of the year. We said there was going to be 3. The first of the year is happening next weekend, June 14th through the 16th in Las Vegas. This event will be streamed in 5 different languages, including English, Mandarin, Korean, Japanese, and Russian. So all of the online qualifiers have built up to this. There will be over 350 players at this event. And this event is going to be 12 rounds of Swiss.
Huge.
That is a lot of gameplay. There'll be 7 rounds on day 1. and then players who have 4 or more wins will move on to play 5 additional rounds on day 2. At that point, it will then break out to the top 8 who will continue play on day 3. And as we mentioned, as we were just talking about with the bundle, there's a $250,000 prize pool for this event up for grabs. So, Bloodyface, I know as part of the Grandmasters, you're getting to go and play in this event as well. Are you excited for this first big Masters Tour tournament?
Yeah, definitely. I'm more excited for this than I ever was for Grandmasters. I mean, me personally, I prefer like large tournaments. I don't really like the whole like closed style of Grandmasters, just because it's like closed off and you couldn't really qualify for it. You had to be invited or you had to have enough points in 2018, which, you know, they kind of retroactively added people. But yeah, for this tournament, the qualification was very clear. You know, you had to win a qualifier, or they kind of retroactively added invites for people who had 6 top 8s. I think that's fair. 6 top 8s is a lot. So if you made 6 top 8s and you still didn't qualify, I think, yeah, you definitely deserve to be there. I really love the location. Out of all the places in the U.S., I mean, it's hard to pick a better location, to be honest, because I think it's important that you can do stuff outside of the tournament. Like, let's say you just have a really bad day 1, you don't make the cut to day 2, and you just have a few days to kill. You know, I think Vegas is a great place that you can just, like, spend time just having fun and, you know, hanging out. And that's kind of the aspect I like the most of these tournaments, is being able to see everybody, being able to fly out to a cool location. Like, I mean, it's one thing like playing Hearthstone, you know, my underwear at home. I mean, that's good and all, but to me, it's even more fun when you get to go to somewhere cool and exciting and see all the other Hearthstone players. So I'm very excited for it.
Now, we mentioned that the prize pool is $250,000. They did say in the link, which we have in the show notes for the Masters bundle, that the additional proceeds from that will also affect the prize pool for Vegas. So while the prize pool for Vegas is $250,000, it could possibly go up to as much as $500,000 depending on the results of the Masters bundle, which obviously we don't have the results of yet. I'm sure we'll have more information on that coming out sometime next week, most likely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so I mean,
go ahead.
that's actually huge, because if you do some quick math, the average amount of money per person playing is $714. And when you consider over half the people in these tournaments are flying from Europe or Asia or anywhere else, you know, it's going to cost them way more than that. And, you know, a lot of these people do have teams helping them out. But, you know, when you have to pay for a $1,000 plane ticket, you have to pay another $500 for hotel, and you include food, and, you know, include, like, you know, it's probably like you're going to have fun there. So yeah, I think most people are going to spend around $2,500, you know, just going to this tournament. Yeah. $714 is just like a very small dent. It's not really going to do very much. And right now, only a third of the people are going to get paid. So 2/3 of the people are just going to have to suck it up and, you know, kind of chalk it up to like a vacation expense. But yeah, if we double it to $500,000, then all of a sudden it's $1,500 per player. It's much closer to break even. You're still taking a gamble because, you know, maybe they'll extend it past 1/3 of the players, but your EV goes up. So yeah, I think that's awesome. Yeah, I think it's really important to have more funding for these kind of tournaments, because one of the biggest criticisms is the cost to go to these things, because for playoffs, they used to give you $1,000 guaranteed no matter how bad you did. And that $1,000, you know, would cover your flight, because they would have playoff locations that were, you know, pretty local to wherever you were. You know, they had them all over the world, so you're always going to be somewhat close to a playoff location. So the $1,000 usually covered, you know, your hotel and plane, or, you know, driving cost or whatever. So I think it's really important that these tournaments, at the very least, are EV neutral, meaning the amount of money you spend to get there is at least equal to the amount of money you get back. In this case, that's getting closer to the case. It would be nice if there was a guaranteed, you know, kind of rebate money that you get back. But yeah, I think it's more of like a threshold sort of thing. Like, I don't really care if I get like $100 back just for showing up. I'd rather push that money up to the top players, for example. But yeah, I mean, more money, It's always better, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I'm sure you've probably, with as much as you're playing in Grandmasters and everything else, you've been spending a lot of time, with the meta. What kind of classes and archetypes do you expect to see the most at the tournament in Vegas?
As much as you're willing to talk about.
Yeah. Don't give away any secrets.
I do have a few secret tech cards that I haven't been talking about. Like, there's one card in particular I think is actually extremely underrated, but I won't say that. I'll save that little bit. But
we'll see that this weekend, right? Yeah.
I will almost definitely be playing it, but there's a chance I won't be. We'll see. But yeah, the most played archetypes I think will be the number one most played class I think will be warrior. It'll probably be bomb warrior, although control warrior has been like actually putting up some decent numbers on ladder, and even though ladder's not like super competitive, it's still worth looking at. And the reason why control warrior is doing a little bit better is because instead of running bomb cards, they're able to run silences for the mech decks. They're able to run super collider for mage, big game hunter for the mech/mage matchup. They can, because they cut bomb cards, they can fit Archivist Elysiana, which can help them in the bomb warrior matchup, where a lot of bomb warriors cut Archivist Elysiana in their primary decks. So I think that control warrior actually might have a breakout performance here. I think it might overperform. I think it's a deck that not even a lot of pros have on their radar, and I think a lot of them would probably scoff at the idea of control warrior just because of how good and consistent bomb warrior's been. But if I had a prediction for one breakout class or deck, it would probably be control warrior, maybe mech paladin as well. I think mech paladin's also pretty good. But yeah, number one class will definitely be warrior. Number two class will be rogue. It'll be I think most of the rogues will be the raiding party rogue, and I think it'll be probably 15% raiding party rogue, 10% water rogue, and then after that we'll probably see 15% mages. I think I think those are the top three decks, by the way. It's just mage, rogue, and warrior. If you look at the best cards in the game, rogue has Edwin and Togwaggle, warrior has Dr. Boom and another Dr. Boom, and then mage has Conjurer's Calling and arguably Mountain Giants, one of the best cards as well. So yeah, that's the reason why those are the top three classes. They just have the most broken cards. So I expect those to be the top three played archetypes. After that, I think we'll start seeing stuff like Mech Paladin and Mech Hunter. Holy Wrath Paladin, I think we'll see a little bit more play than you would see on ladder. It hard counters the mage deck, whereas, some mages do have some tech for it, but yeah, I mostly expect to see warrior, rogue, and mage.
Nice. It's really nice to get the insight of a Grandmasters player and how easily you can just kind of break down percentage numbers. And obviously, for our listeners out there, this is your lifeblood right now. This is what you're doing for a living. So it's nice to see that insight on your thought process. Appreciate you giving that to us.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, it's a 350-person tournament. I don't really care about leaking any information. I don't think anything. Me saying that warrior, rogue, and mage are going to be popular is kind of like a duh to a lot of people. But I think for some people that aren't necessarily super competitive, it's good to know that.
Maybe don't follow the tournament scene as much and just watch it for fun. Yeah,
it's kind of like Michael Phelps saying, there's definitely going to be water in the pool. I'm going to plan for water in the pool and using my body to get across it. Right.
Yes.
So, all right. If you are planning on attending, if you are not playing and planning on attending the Vegas Masters Tour this weekend, because I know I've heard a lot of people in the community say they're just going to go and visit the city and hang out. There are two official Blizzard gatherings that you should know about. The first one is Thursday night, June 13th. There will be a poolside gathering at the Link Hotel. It is a social mixer. So bring your own device to play some Hearthstone. There will be.
Sure it's 21. Just by the way.
Yeah,
I think it is 21.
There will be drinks available for purchase for those of age. And
I don't know if you can attend it if you're not 21 though.
Oh, okay. Well, it doesn't say anything specifically
it doesn't?
The blog post.
All right, maybe I might be wrong then.
Yeah, and then they said there will be other games and a live DJ on stage as well outside the pool. So come hang out, play some Hearthstone, and get ready for the tournament to start. Again, that's Thursday night, June 13th from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. local time.
I'm really curious to see what this is going to look like, by the way, because right now I'm picturing a bunch of nerds with their shirts on, a bunch of iPads out, and like the pool is just like completely empty. That's like what I'm picturing right now.
I have seen the videos of Pavel dancing. Okay, so I know that at least Pavel's going to be in there just going crazy, cutting a rug.
Yeah. So the other event will be happening on Sunday, June 16th. They will be throwing a viewing party for the top 8 at The Book inside the Link Hotel. So go in, grab a seat, watch the games, and enjoy the tournament as it's wrapping up on Sunday the 16th. Now, some of you may have noticed that's an event on Thursday and an event on Sunday. There aren't any official events or viewing parties that have been announced for Friday or Saturday, and it's very important to note that the event is closed to everyone but players. So you cannot go to the link to where they're hosting the tournament on Friday and Saturday and watch. You'll have to do that, via Twitch from your hotel room, or if maybe somebody's throwing an unofficial viewing party, that might be something else to look for. But Thursday and Sunday, official Blizzard viewing parties and get gatherings. So make sure you guys check those out if you are, in fact, going to Vegas. All right. The only other bit of news we had this week was Chapter 5 of the Dalaran Heist, the Kirin Citadel, dropped. So this is the final chapter for the solo content for Rise of Shadows. Unlike the other chapters, there are actually 12 total bosses in this chapter, and completing 5 normal bosses grants 5 Rise of Shadows packs.
I'm sorry, that was a typo. You grant 3 Rise of Shadow packs.
3 Rise of Shadow packs, okay.
Yeah.
And completing the event on normal mode grants a golden classic pack. So Zorosho and I have been talking about this over the last few weeks, but Bloodyface, what is your thoughts on this solo content? Have you had the time to play through it, or have you just been too busy to actually get a chance to check it out yet? What are your thoughts?
So, yeah, I actually did play a couple. It's actually funny because my girlfriend, Holly, she loves this, and she's played a lot of it. And, I think in the past, like, she would play, she plays Hearthstone, but, like, is obviously not as competitive, just, like, more of, like, the PvE type stuff. And in the past, we both kind of found the bosses to be a little bit too difficult and our decks to be a little bit too weak. And it felt like you had to, like, high roll a little bit, especially if you're not, like, the best Hearthstone player in the world. It really felt like it was a challenge, and maybe some people like that. But it feels like in the Dalaran Heist, it's a lot easier. You get a lot more broken decks. I really like the inclusion of Bartender Bob. It's a nice, flavorful aspect. I do think they borrowed the idea from Slay the Spire. Just like the whole, it feels very Slay the Spire-esque if you've ever played that game, where you're just going through a dungeon and you get to upgrade your deck, you get to get rid of cards, you get to switch cards out. I think that deck building aspect is really cool and really important because, the more you do that kind of stuff, the more you kind of feel like the deck is yours. And, picking buckets is fun and all, but I really like the aspect of the whole Bartender Bob stuff. I think that completely changed it, and I think that's I really like it. I think it's really easy, which is good. I would rather it be easier than hard, because it's really frustrating to just run into a random boss that just has a really good matchup against you and you just lose, and then you don't get to play your deck anymore, and that's kind of sad. It's more fun when you get to build your deck that you like, and I feel like it's not really about winning, it's just about having fun. And I don't know, like if you really want a challenge, you can go do heroic mode. Although my girlfriend kind of breezed through heroic mode, so
Nice.
I don't even know how hard heroic mode is. But I would rather it be easy than hard, though, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, one of my biggest complaints about the solo content since they started baking them into the sets is that there was no heroic mode. And I love the solo content, but I love that carrot on the stick, that heroic mode, that the card back you get from the heroic mode to show that I did complete this. I did find the normal mode is pretty easy. I'm actually finishing up every class now, and I've got them all the classes done except for the new classes from this week. I knocked out normal mode within just a couple runs, right away on the first day, and then Friday evening after I completed my THL match, I was like, well, let me just see if I can crack into this heroic and see how I'm doing, because I had already finished the first 4 chapters on heroic, some of them with multiple characters. And I was able to complete heroic mode Friday evening using the paladin. There are some kind of cheesy tactics with the paladin. I didn't get any of the options for the cheesy tactics, so I just kind of had to just power through it old school way, and it worked. So I got that card back. I'm really excited. I had a great conversation with a streamer by the name of Venga Dragon. So big shout out to Venga Dragon. He's of the kind of thought that the only mode that matters to him is ladder, and the only goal that really matters to him is the legend card back, which I fully understand that whole aspect. I understand that focus of the game. And talking to him, I kind of got him to realize that people enjoy the game differently, and some people see those rewards, those card backs, those portraits, from Arthas, from Knights of the Frozen Throne, as their kind of legend card back. It's their accomplishment they can show off, and it was really neat to see his realization that I didn't realize there were so many different ways to play this game. And some people only focus on things like the solo content. Some people only focus on ladder. I just happen to be somebody who has enough time to play Hearthstone to focus on all of it. And I want it all. I'm like Veruca Salt in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I want it all. I want it to be mine. So I want every card back I can get. And the heroic mode really hit it there for me. This is, to me, the best solo content that's existed since the existence of Hearthstone, in my opinion. I really am excited to see how they one up this, because I don't know if they can.
Yeah, no, this has by far been my favorite bit of solo content, going back to the very first Karazhan adventure that they introduced. I've just really had a blast with this. They've done a fantastic job. So to the solo content design team at Team 5, great job, guys. Keep up the great work. All right, so that will bring us to this week's deck analysis, and Bloodyface has been generous enough to share a Mage deck list with us that he has been playing. So I will pull that up right now, and then I'll run down the deck list, and then I'll turn it over to Bloodyface to kind of talk about how to play the deck and what it does. So the deck list is a Mage, and it includes 2 Elemental Evocation, 2 Magic Trick, 2 Mirror Image, 2 Ray of Frost, Khadgar, 2 Mana Cyclone, 2 Sorcerer's Apprentice, 2 Arcane Intellect, 2 Banana Buffoon, 2 Conjurer's Calling, 2 Frost Novas, Snip Snap, Stargazer Luna, 1 Sandbinder, Ziliax, 1 copy of course only 1 copy, it's Archmage Antonidas, 2 Sea Giants, and 2 Mountain Giants. So, Bloodyface, tell us a little bit about how this deck plays and what it does.
Sure. So this is a pretty standard list with maybe some minor differences to the normal Cyclone Mage deck, but usually this deck has 1 of 2 game plans. If you're on the play, its normal game plan is to try and get a good Mana Cyclone turn. And the way you do that is by using the card Sorcerer's Apprentice. You can reduce the cost of all your spells by 1. So, the bananas that you get from Banana Buffoon, they cost 1 to 0. Your magic tricks now cost 0. Your Ray of Frost costs 0. Your Mirror Image costs 0. basically Sorcerer's Apprentice enables almost all of the spells in your deck to cost 0. So then you can just dump them all from your hand, and then you can use a card like Elemental Evocation, or if you just have 2 mana left over, you can play your Mana Cyclone, which gives you a random mage spell for each other spell you played that turn. So it's kind of a way to, you get to spam the board with mirror images, or clear your opponent's board, or freeze them with Ray of Frost and stuff, and then you just get all those cards back, which is really powerful because now all of a sudden you have board presence, and you didn't really waste any cards because you get all of the cards you spent from your hand back. That's usually the game plan on the play. On the coin, you can play your Mountain Giants a lot more consistently. So on the coin, you're going to be looking for cards like Arcane Intellect and Banana Buffoon to try and fill up your hand to 10 as fast as possible. That will enable you to drop a 3-mana Mountain Giant, and if you have some mana left over, you can also Conjurer's Calling it. Because there's only 2 different 12 drops in the game, there's Grave Horror, which is a 7/8 taunt, and Mountain Giant. Conjurer's Calling, your Mountain Giant will always give you a Giant Beast. It'll either give you Mountain Giant or the 7/8 taunt, so it'll allow you to create these huge boards. Then you also have this card Khadgar, which says that whenever you summon a token, are they called tokens? Whenever you summon like a copy of a minion, you summon an additional copy. So let's say, for example, you have a Mountain Giant out. You can play your Khadgar and Conjurer's Calling your Mountain Giant. Instead of getting 2 giants, you would actually get 4 giants. So Khadgar will always double the amount that you get. So, nice. This deck isn't very good early on tempo-wise. It doesn't really have... You kind of want to save your cards to generate these huge tempo swings. It doesn't really do very well trying to, play a bunch of stuff early on. So when you're playing this deck, try and hold your cards as much as possible. It's okay if you're taking a lot of big hits. The important thing is that you have one really big swing turn that your opponent's going to have a lot of trouble coming back from.
Okay, awesome. And so I was really curious about the inclusion of Snip Snap, the new card.
Right, yeah, that was actually a card I was trying to keep secret, but I guess I sent you guys the list, so I might as well bring it up. Yeah, I think Snip Snap is extremely good. I think it should just... Sorry, my cats are fighting. It's okay. So Snip Snap, just on the surface, it's a lot like Harvest Golem. It's a 3-mana 2/3. Instead of a 2/1, you get 2 1/1s, which is already better than Harvest Golem. But why am I comparing to Harvest Golem? Harvest Golem's a bad card. It's more the fact that, on turn 6, it just has so much flexibility, right? Because on turn 6, you have the potential to make 2 2/3s that each give you 1/1s. And the 1/1s are good on their own because they can trade. They're kind of annoying to deal with. It also synergizes with your deck because you have Khadgar. You can create more 1/1s. It can also help you flood the board to make your Sea Giants cost less. It also kind of acts like a mini Kirin. Kirin is a 6-mana 4/5. That when it dies, you get another 4/5. Well, if you play a Snip Snap and Magnetic it onto it, you have a 6-mana 4/6. That when it dies, you get 4 1/1s. Not as strong as Kirin, but the flexibility of being a 3-drop or a 9-drop, or even just magneticking onto Ziliax. One of the biggest issues with Mage is that it has a lack of healing. And I've even considered playing Ice Barrier before, but obviously when your opponents know that your only secret is Ice Barrier, it's not very effective. But healing is very important. So with a card like Snip Snap, you can just have it on the board. It's generally ignored. Nobody really kills it because of its Death Rattle. It gives you an opportunity to Ziliax onto it, and all of a sudden you have a 5/4 lifesteal instead of a 3/2 lifesteal. I really like that card. I think it's extremely good in pretty much every deck. Maybe even Rogue should be playing it. It's just, how do you answer a 3-mana 2/3 that gives you 2 1/1s on turn 3? No deck trumps that. No deck has a way to just punish you for playing that. It might not be the most powerful thing to do, but I think with this kind of deck, it's important to have sticky stuff early on, and Snip Snap is just one of those sticky minions I really like. I think as time goes on, I think people will realize that Snip Snap is just the next Ziliax. Ziliax, if you already don't know, is included in almost every deck. If you look at the stats on Ziliax, it's the most played. I'm pretty sure it's the most played card, period.
Yeah.
And I think Snip Snap's going to probably not reach that point because it's not as powerful as Ziliax, but I think it's up there. I think it's going to be one of the most played cards, and I think in the next few weeks people will be kicking themselves for, why wasn't I just always playing Snip Snap in my deck? This card's just insane. So yeah, that's kind of the idea that I've adopted is like, all right, well, whatever deck I play in Vegas, I should probably find a way to put Snip Snap in it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
you mentioned something when you were talking about the deck you mentioned on the play and on the coin, and this is obviously not a foreign concept in competitive Hearthstone, but I've noticed it's become more discussed by casters and by players since this meta and the specialist format. When you're talking about making a game plan for a specific class, obviously we'll say this case Mage, and you know your opponent is specifically one other class, does it make it a little easier to game plan ahead of time because you basically have two lines of thought? This is how I plan to play against this class if I am on the play, meaning going first, and then this is how I play if I have the coin. Is that an accurate assessment of that terminology on the play and on the coin?
Yeah, I think so.
It's just really neat because in Conquest, you didn't talk about that so much because there's a possibility of playing against, 3 different classes. So you're really thinking of 6 different permutations, and you kind of just play a deck that plays the best against the full field. And on the play and on the coin wasn't as much of a thinking point. I mean, it was in some cases, but it didn't seem to be as much of a thinking point in pre-planning. But in Specialist, that's all I'm hearing the casters and the players talk about now is on the play and on the coin.
Yeah, I think it's part of the reason is the coin it actually counts as a spell.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that enables cards like combo cards like Evil Miscreant to trigger really easily. It gives you an extra spell off a Mana Cyclone. So yeah, the coin counting as a spell comes up a lot in a lot of different decks, and it just so happens that Mage and Rogue are both 2 top-tier decks. Yeah. So that's just one of those things that's just going to come up a lot. And yeah, I mean, I think if they were to change the coin so that it didn't count as a spell, it wouldn't be like as big of a deal. But right now, like Rogues just, man, they want that coin so bad. Like it's just like candy to them.
Okay. Cool. Well, I'm excited to see this deck get played here shortly. I guess that's going to do it for us this week. If you are joining us on Twitch or YouTube, please stay tuned for the live play portion of our show. If you're listening to us via our audio podcast, we'd like to thank you for joining us. And remember, you can follow us on Twitter at HeroPower_cast and find all of our episodes on YouTube at youtube.com/ECMMOgamers or on our website at HeroPowerHS.com. Bloodyface, if they want to see more from you, where can they find you streaming?
Bloodyface or twitch.tv/BloodyfaceHS. Also on Twitter at BloodyfaceHS. Both the same handle.
Okay. Awesome. And of course, you can always catch him on the Grandmaster streams whenever they are playing, which he will be playing here just shortly. So we're going to try to wrap this up. But if you do enjoy our show and would like to help support and improve it, you can do so by joining our Patreon at patreon.com/HeroPower. For as little as $1 a month, we'll get you access to our patron-only Discord where we are constantly talking Hearthstone with friends. Until then, we'll see you again next week.
And don't forget to use your hero power.
All right, so I am going to fire up the client here, and then we will get into a couple of games and see what this deck can do.
Sure. Do you mind if I use the bathroom?
No, go right ahead.
Yeah,
Please, go
please.
ahead.
All right. I'll be right back.
All right.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see this deck, and it was really neat hearing the inside of Bloodyface. The big talking point in a lot of these casts and Grandmasters is definitely about on the play and on the coin, and this deck definitely utilizes the coin in a really flexible way. Obviously, you talked about Mage using the coin as well as Rogue using the coin, and right now Mage and Rogue are really prevalent in the meta, and to some extent, even Warrior uses the coin to some aspect, because if it has the coin, first off, it's denying those Mage or Rogue opponents the coin, and second off, it's giving an extra swing towards their removal turns. They can They can play some of their mechs earlier, some of their removal earlier. They can brawl earlier if they need to. So it's really exciting to see that aspect of that gameplay and that thought, that preparation.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. All right, so we're ready when you are, sir. You just say when and...
Sure, I'll queue up a game.
Yeah, we were just talking about this deck and how much fun it's been, so... if you don't...
Yeah, I have not had the success with it that I'm sure you have or will, of course. And I'm really excited to learn how to play it because I just haven't been very good with this style, and I think I'm just not doing it right.
Oh, and we're looking at a rogue. So what are you looking for in your mulligans here?
Sorcerer's Apprentice, Arcane Intellect, Banana Buffoon are probably the best 3 cards. Mana Cyclone's also probably a keep because you do want to try and like go for a good Mana Cyclone turn. But yeah, the 3 drops are the most important because you just want to make sure you have something to do early on. So I'm going to keep the Mana Cyclone. Just toss the rest.
I mean, even if you just get a elemental evocation, it's really good. And there's Snip Snap.
There's Snip Snap. It's actually a nice draw. I think you just want to have a sticky 3-drop. Another mirror image, not the best.
Yeah, I'm really liking Snip Snap in the meta. But the only place I haven't found it really useful is Mech Paladin. Mainly because it interferes with the Kangors on this army. But every other deck, just slotting it in. It's like slotting in another Zeliax, and works great with Zeliax.
Yeah, definitely. Alright, so he has the Coin Miscreant. Khadgar is an interesting draw because we have these mirror images, which can like kind of work in conjunction with Sea Giant. You spend 3 mana and you get 5 minions, effectively reducing the cost of Sea Giant by 2. You spend 3 mana. Yeah, so this interaction is nice if you can draw Sea Giant. But right now we really just want stuff to like fill our hand, or Sorcerer's Apprentice. All right, looks like he's just gonna trade into the Snip Snap, which is something that we are fine with. Conjurer's Calling is a nice payoff if we're gonna draw the Sea Giant. But yeah, for right now, we're just kind of not doing very much. We killed the Blink Fox and passed. Yeah, most of the early turns, just unfortunately not doing anything. It's kind of the downside to this deck is that it's very reliant on getting a good combo turn. Sorry, what were you going to say?
We're not too worried about the little chip damage this early because we can have a Ziliac swing turn where we can heal a little bit, right?
Yeah. We're not, exactly. We're not too worried about it. We got a 6 mana Mountain Giant. So, again, we'll just do nothing. Edwin's only 4/4. So he's playing he might be playing Water Rogue, or he might just be playing Shark Rogue. There's a Shark. Generally, this deck is a little bit slower, so it's not as much a cause for concern, taking some damage against them. Oh, there's our Sea Giant. So let's see. Could Khadgar mirror image?
That makes the Sea Giant what? 1 mana?
1 mana. So close. I really wanted to be able to Conjurer's Calling this turn. I could just
maybe freeze this board and plan for it next turn.
Frost Nova and go.
Let me think about this. Could just play 2 mirror images. That's gonna make this cost 2. Yeah, there's no way to do it. Yeah, we could just Frost Nova. We could just play the Mountain Giant. Could also just play the Sea Giant as well.
What's better to Conjurers, the Mountain Giants or the Sea Giants? Because I know with Mountain Giants you have a better chance of getting the taunts.
Yeah, you actually can't get taunts off Conjurer's Calling the Sea Giant. So you usually I'm kind of leaning more towards this.
Okay.
And not pinging his 1/1. I'm actually not sure what the best play is there.
So not pinging is 1/1. Is that possibly telegraph a sea giant play?
Yeah, but I think we're okay with that.
Okay.
So now, you could just go mirror image. That's 2 mana. We have 5 left. This becomes 1 mana. You could Conjurer's Calling then. Because I kind of want to save the Khadgar.
Okay.
Actually, we could mirror image, mana cyclone, sea giant. That's 5 minions. Yeah, this will cost 0. Spend 4 mana. So I think that's. Oh yeah, I want to save the Khadgar for Conjurer's Calling.
Okay.
And this way we get 2 spells in our hand. Ray of Frost is pretty nice. So yeah, this is kind of one of the swing turns.
Oh wow.
That's not bad.
Yeah, so then now if one of these lives, we have Khadgar Conjurer's Calling, and we were lucky enough to get Ray of Frost off Mana Cyclone, that we can just maybe freeze some of his big stuff. Yeah, here, I mean, it is possible we die. This Spirit of the Shark's pretty scary.
Yeah.
But his board is kind of full. We have these 4 mirror images, so it's kind of hard for him to get past everything. I guess it depends on how many backstabs this person has. Okay.
That's not even a backstab.
Yeah, we're doing pretty good here. This is the worst he can do. So it looks like he wants to go 8 to the face.
Yeah, he wants to get that 8 in, which is, I mean, we're going to be able to recover really well from here.
Let me think about this. So, I definitely want to kill the shark. The problem is we can't get taunts here. Can I make this 5 mana calling? No. Yeah, I'm just going to set up lethal for next turn, I think.
Okay.
So I'll do this.
The Ray of Frost is really going to help us here.
Yeah, the Ray of Frost is really nice. Yeah, unfortunately there's nothing we can get to protect us, though. Because none of the 10 drops are able to do that. So we can freeze both of these guys. And then he's 3 damage. Leroy's Shadow Step would kill us. Yeah, that's kind of the downside of using the Frost Nova, is that you really want to Frost Nova on the turn you make a big play like this.
Gotcha.
But yeah, this deck's I don't know. It's kind of the reason why I'm unsure about bringing it. I feel like you're always really close to just dying.
But sometimes that's a sign of a good deck, you know.
Yeah, it's really powerful. You just have to know it's you get the with this deck you almost always have to take a risk. It's unless you just have the nuts or whatever. Sometimes you just draw really well and you don't have to take any risks. But if you don't draw really well, you almost always have to open yourself up to some sort of bad thing. And it's just a matter of trying to figure out what is that scenario that you're trying to avoid. So here it looks like we're not dead. I think it's going to be pretty hard for him to kill all this stuff. I mean, we can Conjurer's Calling the Ziliax if he kills the 7/7. Okay. See, I think we're fine
lethal?
Here. Yeah. Well, it just we could ping this, hit this. Yeah, that's just lethal on board. We don't even need to Conjurer's Calling.
Yeah, I think he realized that too. So, all right.
That was nice. I think my biggest problem with the deck is I tend to prioritize the defensive line of Conjurer's Calling the Mountain Giants. And if you want to win, you need to Conjurer's Calling the Sea Giants because you get more actual damage on the board to push for lethal.
It's really dependent on, in that scenario, we had 2 mirror images. So we were able to set up whenever you're able to set up a good defense plus a good offense in the same turn, that's really good.
Yeah.
But if we didn't have the mirror images, like, yeah, sometimes you just have to go for the Mountain Giant Conjurer's Calling and hope you hit a taunt. It just kind of depends on what your hand pan out is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was a good game.
Yeah.
One more?
Thanks. Sure. Yeah, we can do one more.
All right. Cool.
I like the snip snap there. I think it bought us. It's like it's not like super amazing, but like him just like spending time and mana trading into it, and then
he used
having stuff left
resources
over.
to get rid of it. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he put, 3 attacks into it to clear it overall, so...
Yeah. Alright, so we're against Warrior. We're on the coin, which is nice. On the coin, you can go for the Giants more. So I'm not going to keep Mana Cyclone. And we're just going to look for 3 drops. Mountain Giant. Alright, so we got 2 3s. Usually when you have 2 3s, you can coin 3 into 3. And against Warrior, usually it's Bomb Warrior, and the way they beat you is actually just by beating you down, not really running you out of threats, so that's going to be a thing I'm going to look out for. I'm going to coin the Banana Buffoon first, because it's really good against Augmented Elic. If he has Augmented Elic here, then I can just give this guy bananas and kill it, and then he has to kill my guy. Alright, I don't really like him from his point of view. I don't think this Banana Buffoon's worth killing. But yeah, if that's what he wants to do, sure. Alright, so at least with the Sandbinder, if we get we really want the Mountain Giant, but if we don't get the Mountain Giant, we at least have this Elemental Evocation for the Mana Cyclone. We're probably going to end up burning a card here. Yeah, I'm just going to have to burn a card, I think. That's Mana Cyclone.
And I've learned this deck, you can afford to burn a card or 2 if you need to.
Oh, yeah. It's not, obviously not desirable, but yeah, especially with this hand, this is pretty bad because we don't have any of the combo pieces. Like, you don't really want Mana Cyclone that much. We don't have a Sorcerer's Apprentice to, like, make a really good turn, but I mean, I guess I could play this. I don't know.
And the only really bad burn would be, the Mountain Giant? Anything else we can live with?
I mean, Sorcerer's Apprentice is pretty bad as well. But yeah, you usually don't hit Fatigue, so you don't really draw your whole deck. So can we play Sea Giant here? Can make a 6-mana. So I guess we can just kill this. Play like a mirror image, I guess. Yeah, I mean, this is like pretty bad. Unfortunately, I probably should have just burned this evocation to draw a card in retrospect. Just because I don't think we're really going to care about using this for the Mana Cyclone too much. Also, I don't think this guy's playing Bomb Warrior. I think he's playing Control Warrior.
Yeah, Weapons Project's usually not Bomb. It's primarily just Control, right?
Yeah, and I think if he was Bomb, we would have seen a 3-drop at this point. So yeah, I definitely should have used this. Another Mana Cyclone. Oof. I mean, you could just play a Sea Giant now. You get pretty minimal value. I guess we could just, like, cash in some bananas.
Yeah.
Can play another Banana Buffoon. Get some more bananas. We're not really... This is not, like, part of the game plan. This is just, like, trying to... Eye Overture again. Alright, I'm not playing this game that well. I should have not played the last banana. Because I should have saved 1 mana. And then I could have played banana so I don't overdraw 1.
Banana afterwards, okay, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, this deck's hard. I don't know. There's actually an interesting Twitter thread where Viper just said this deck's not that hard to play. Which I don't agree with. I think this deck's very hard to play.
I don't agree with that either. Just from playing it, and I'm a very combo and control oriented player. This type of deck is usually up my alley, but it's a lot of next level thinking I have, and 2 or 3 turns ahead thinking I have trouble with.
Yeah. Alright, I'm just gonna... Alright, so we got a Sorcerer's Apprentice, which is nice. Yeah, this is like pretty sad that we have to do this, but I have to do this, not burn a card. Yeah, as you can see, Mountain Giant's really important to draw, because in this matchup at least, because when you don't have Mountain Giant, you're just kind of doing nothing.
Yeah.
Could just cash in some spells here, I suppose. Probably
Free
get
up a
rid
little
of...
bit of our hand.
Oh wow, that all went face. Yeah.
Wow.
Really want to get the Sea Giant out, because if we can get Sea Giant out, then we can like Conjurer's Calling it once, and
Yeah.
it's gonna Warpath this. I think we're pretty happy with that.
Yeah. I mean, he's sacrificing his own board for. I mean, obviously he'll keep it at a 3/1, I assume.
Actually, it might be smart for him to kill it, because now we can play Sea Giant.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually funny because we didn't have a play if he
killed it. Yeah.
If he killed it. It's kind of one of the down. I don't really like Sea Giant that much. I've thought about cutting it, but I'm not sure for what.
Yeah, I've not been a big fan of Sea Giant and the Conjurer Mage. I definitely like the Mountain Giant, of course. But Sea Giant, some of the 10-cost minions you get just don't seem worth the value.
Yeah. Yeah, there's not a lot of good 10-cost minions. Alright, so I guess we'll just draw a card here. Luna's not bad.
Yeah, our hand looks good for Luna.
Alright, finally got a Mountain Giant. Guess we'll just play this. Yeah, and we had the option of Element Invocation, Mountain Giant, but I really want to save the Giant for Conjurer's Calling, because the first Giant can just be Shield Slammed.
Yeah.
I think we might have to double Conjurer's... Like, we really want to force out a Brawl. This is actually nice that he's kind of... If we can keep stuff on the board and have a Sea Giant Conjurer's Calling turn, that's really powerful, because we might not have enough armor to kill the stuff off Sea Giant with the Shield Slam.
That's fair.
Yeah, we really just want him to have to use a Brawl. Like, that's what we really want. Because when he uses a Brawl, like, he only has 2 Brawls, and then after the 2 Brawls are gone, we can just, like, go super all in. But at least we have a lot of time here. Like, he's not pressuring us at all. That's why I feel like Bomb Warrior can be a little bit more difficult. Although Bomb Warrior doesn't have, like, yeah, stuff like Super Collider.
Yeah.
Super Collider is really tough to deal with. And Archmage Antonitis is nice. But yeah, I'm just going to go for Sea Giant Conjurer's Calling first. Yeah, I mean, Super Collider just kills both of these. It's so bad. This game is probably not looking like one that we're going to win. I'll just go face, I guess, because you need to kill him at some point. We'll save the Ray of Frost for Antonitis. Yeah,
the benefit of the Super Collider clearing these 8/8s is it clears his armor to the point that he's not really going to be able to deal with the Mountain Giant Conjurer's Calling turn as easily, right?
Yeah, definitely. That's a good point. Actually, that kind of makes me want to go Antonitis here first.
Yeah.
Because,
get fireballs, because, yeah.
Yeah, I just don't know how he kills it.
I don't know either.
Oh, I thought I had another one. Okay. I thought I had another freeze. Oops. Oh, well.
That's still fine. I mean, the amount of face damage he's going to have to invest to killing this.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know. I just don't think I played this game very well. But
I don't think we're in a terrible spot.
No, we're not in a terrible spot. It's just going to depend on... Like, he's already 17 cards deep into his deck, so he probably has at least 1 Brawl. I'm not sure we can make... Like, it's hard to play around Super Collider and Brawl at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think we're just going to force out the first brawl here.
Sounds good to me. I mean,
Uh-oh. I mean, if he doesn't have brawl, like actually, I don't even know if he needs brawl here. To be honest, he can just.
Oh, we got all giants. We didn't get any grave horrors at all.
Yeah, Here he can just attack in here, use Iliacs to heal back up. Yeah, he doesn't even need to brawl. We've already burned our second mountain giant, so yeah, probably not winning this game. The second devastator. Yeah, at this point, like these Conjurer's Calling, so we actually don't have anything else to Conjurer's Calling, so. Yeah, it doesn't even need the brawl to clear.
Yeah.
Just gonna go ahead and concede. Don't have any more threats left in our deck.
Yeah, we drew a lot of our mountain giants really late. We had to burn too many cards.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, this feels like one of those decks where you get more punished for making a minor mistake. But honestly, that feels true of like a lot of the top decks right now. I think that like playing perfectly with Rogue, Warrior, or Mage is pretty difficult. I think there's like a lot of like weird, tricky spots that you get into. Because like obviously everyone knows what like your game, your plan A is, but when things don't go your way, you have to be able to adapt and try and make the most out of it.
Okay, well that makes us 1-1. Did you want to try for a 2 out of 3, or do you need to?
Sure.
Okay,
We'll play one more.
All right.
Yeah, I know your time is precious, and you have your Grandmasters here pretty soon, so we don't want to push you too far.
We appreciate you taking the time that you have.
Yeah, no problem. All right, playing against another warrior. All right, so we're on the coin again, which is nice. But yeah, just gonna look for Mountain Giant and 3 drops. Got an Intellect, which is good. Another Intellect, which is good.
If we can draw into those Mana Cyclones, these will be really good.
Yeah, especially with the Sorcerer's Apprentice.
Sorcerer's Apprentice, yeah.
So I'm wondering if he has a 3-drop Elic or his Acolyte. Okay. Acolyte, I'll probably just play another Intellect. I consider playing Twilight Drake as well, just for having something to do early on. Twilight Drake
pressures the board, yeah.
Yeah, be really good in this spot. Here, I think for the sake of not burning a card, just gonna play the Snip Snap and Magic Trick.
Okay.
Spellbender's usually fine because it can soak up a Shield Slam.
Yeah. I definitely like Spellbender against a control mate, a control warrior, because a lot of their targeted spells are specifically removal.
Yeah.
The Spellbender will be really useful.
Yeah, it's actually going to be nice, like, to play this before we get the Mountain Giant to protect it. Assuming we draw a Mountain Giant, which doesn't look like he wants to come out today.
Yeah. And he is prioritizing armor, so it's kind of a sign that he probably has that removal. He did keep a card in his mulligan.
Yeah. I don't think that really matters how he treats here. And we have the ability to clear off his guys. I'll probably Banana Buffet. I think for the sake of just emptying our hand, I'm going to do this.
Okay.
I'm going to buff the Apprentice by 1 so it doesn't die to the weapon. Probably buff this guy by 1 as well.
I like it.
Yeah, his armor isn't too much cause for concern, since you usually just hit him in giant chunks. But we do need to find a giant sooner rather than later. Okay. Another conjurer's calling. Alright, just play the secret. Yeah, might as well play the banana buffoon. Kill the town crier.
Yeah, give him something to use that last charge on.
Yeah, we're drawing extremely poorly. Like, just need anything. Mana Cyclone, Sandbinder, Stargazer Luna, Mountain Giant. Even Sea Giant might not be bad at this point. Well, actually, not Sea Giant. Can't cast that. Alright, he's got Dr. Boom. Another Ray of Frost. This is not looking good. I think we're just going to have to burn one of these. Could also burn Frost Nova as well. But I just kind of want to remove that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at least like the thing with this warrior list, this control warrior list, doesn't really pressure you at all. So you do have some time to set up, but the more time you give them, the more time you give them to draw their answers, like Omega Devastator and
Yeah.
yeah, like you want to like pressure them before turn 10, ideally. Okay. Alright. That's good enough to go in on. So we're just gonna dump our hand. Actually, I kind of did that incorrectly. I should have Frost Nova'd first. Maybe we'll get like a Power of Creation or something. Alright, he actually has a lot of cards in hand, so I'm just going to Research Project because he'll burn a card that way. Oh, we're so close to being able to play Mountain Giant. Oh, actually we can. Mirror Image, Mountain Giant. I guess we'll hold the Ray of Frost since that can be used to fill our hand with fireballs.
Okay.
Burn doesn't. It's not really a significant burn.
Yeah.
Warpath Shield Slam, that was interesting. I guess he's going to finish off the Warpath now. Yeah, there we go.
He's making sure to get the value from the bombs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Still no Mountain Giants.
They
just
are
really...
not wanting to play today.
No, they're not. Alright, another Mana Cyclone. I'm just going to start off with Intellect. And I think we're just going to have to burn this Frost Nova.
Wow.
This is... oh man, 9 cards. Oh, we're just getting all the bad luck out of the way before Grandmasters tonight.
There you go.
We're glad we could be of help.
Yes. Definitely don't want this to happen tonight. Okay. It's actually pretty good. Alright, this is guaranteed to draw us Mountain Giant, thankfully. I'm just going to go ahead and make 2 Mountain Giants, I guess. I mean, we have protection against Shield Slam for one of them. But if he has like something like Super Collider, it's might be tough.
Okay. That poor little 1/3 never stood a chance.
No, it did not. Alright, there's a Devastator. So it looks like our stuff is going to get cleared off. Which isn't unsurprising. Considering this is the first turn we've generated any amount of threat. Uh-oh. That's, that thing is impossible to kill. Alright, Khadgar. Yeah, this is, looking like...
Could I get a spectate invite again? My client crashed for some reason.
Oh, yeah. Alright, I guess we'll just Power Blast his face and take 12. I don't see us winning this game, to be honest. Like, the Beryllium Nullifier, Ziliax, Eternium Rover combo is just impossible for us to deal with, and ooh, it gets even worse. Even worse!
Yeah, it's pretty snip snap. You said it yourself. That's solid.
Yeah, I mean, it's the biggest advantage to Warriors that when your opponent isn't threatening you, you just have all the time in the world. So I guess we'll do this. Oh, wow. And we don't hit any taunts. Okay.
Wow.
Alright, well, all the bad luck before TM starts.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like horrendously bad.
Yeah, there you go. Get all the bad luck out of the way.
Yeah, having 2 Mountain Giants in the bottom 10, 2 games in a row against Warrior, nonetheless, is not ideal.
Right. Yeah. So, well, there you go. So we will be cheering for you tonight. Make sure everybody tunes in at around 6 o'clock to check out Bloodyface as he plays tonight in Grandmasters. So, all right. Again, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to come chat with us today about everything and to show us this great Mage deck. Even though it is a tough deck to play, but it looks like it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is. When it works, it's a lot of fun.
So, all right, gang. That's going to do it for us this week. So, if you have any questions or comments about the show, please email us at heropowerpodcast@gmail.com. Do us a favor. Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube or give us a follow on Twitch to be alerted when we go live. If you haven't done so, give Bloodyface a follow on Twitch as well over at twitch.tv/bloodyfacehs. For more details about our Patreon, check it out at patreon.com/heropower. Until next week, good gaming.
Bye, guys.
See ya.